Hey, good morning. I'm Adam Post. This is the Morning Post. Great to see you. I'm having a great day. I hope you're having a great day. Definitely tell me in the comments below, are you having a great day? While you're down there, make sure you subscribe, click the bell for notifications. I want to tell you why George Lucas is allowed to talk smack about Disney. Why Lucas can criticize Disney. Why? Because he has a First Amendment right? No, because he probably knew he was going to have to criticize them at some point. And even though he gave them control of Star Wars and they gave him a little bit more than $4 billion, he was like, nah, Bob, I may have to talk some smack about you. So check this out. So as you know, Disney bought Star Wars. They bought Lucasfilm, the whole company from George Lucas, who really didn't have the way Bob Iger sold him on it. Bob Iger describes it in detail in his book, Ride of a Lifetime, which came out recently. Bob Iger's book. He talks about how basically he approached George Lucas and he was like, hey, look, you're getting to be old. You know, you're going to die someday. Don't you want someone responsible to take care of Star Wars? Disney could do that for you. Disney could buy Star Wars from you, just like talk to Steve Jobs, just like we did with Pixar. Just take the money. We'll take the company. So that's the short version of it. So eventually Lucas was like, okay, fine. So he sold them the company. So what we didn't know, though, and then Bob Iger reveals in his book from this Bounding into Comics article, that Bob Iger tried to get George Lucas to sign a non-disparagement clause. What's a non-disparagement clause? Well, you know how, like, let's say, for example, if you get invited onto somebody's YouTube channel, and they have a big platform, and they're going to promote you, they're going to help you sell a lot of comic books, and you just get invited on, you can sell a lot of comic books and then leave and then talk smack about the people who invited you on. Say, Comicsgate Live, for example. People that go on that show and then don't appreciate the success and the exposure they get and then talk smack about it. Well, like George Lucas's relationship with Disney, there's no non-disparagement clause when you get invited on a YouTube show in most cases. There could be a contract. It could be a standard contract. It could be somebody signs something and says, listen, and it would be private. I guarantee I will not talk smack and be negative and attack this platform that was just beneficial to me, that just invited me on. That would be a non-disparagement clause. Those are standard business agreements. But hey, maybe it's a good idea for Comicsgate Live. We'll see. So Disney was able to buy the company from George Lucas, but he didn't trust them enough to sign a non-disparagement clause. So that would mean that whatever Disney did with Star Wars, George Lucas could comment about it and say, well, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. And Disney didn't have any recourse because it's part of George's First Amendment. George Lucas, that is, not George anyone else. What the non-disparagement clause would have done is that it would have prevented George Lucas from making any negative comments about Bob Iger or Disney, regardless of what they did with the Star Wars films, or George Lucas would have been forced to pay a financial penalty of some kind. He wouldn't have gone to jail. They wouldn't have been thrown him out of the country or anything like that. But normally what's in there is some sort of a civil penalty where he could forfeit some pre-described amount of money. In some cases, it could be as much as $100,000. In their cases, because they were in the billions, it could be, God knows, $100 million or something like that. So if you really want to talk smack about somebody, it better be worth $100 million. In the case of a small business arrangement, somebody leaves a job, they sign a non-disparagement clause, maybe $5,000, $10,000 civil penalty or something like that. So in any event, you can make it part of contracts. It's something that is a standard part of business contracts. That's why you don't really see a lot of people that do big financial deals, no matter how they turn out, saying a lot of negative things about the people that gave them the money. This is why, non-disparagement clause. Okay? If you ever do a rights deal for any of your intellectual properties, look out for that. Keep it. Try not to put it, be like George Lucas, try not to agree to it. But don't be surprised if someone does ask you to agree to it. And you know what? It's good business to not say bad things about each other. Once you sell the property's gone, right? So why should you be saying anything negative? You make a deal, you keep the deal. It is what it is. So in an excerpt from Iger's new book, Right of a Lifetime, Lessons Learned from 15 Years as the CEO of Walt Disney. Yeah, okay. So even though he had issues with the film, I thought it was important for George to be at the Force Awakens premiere. Bob Iger says he didn't want to come at first, but Kathy, with the help of George's now wife, Melody Hobson, convinced him that it was the right thing to do. Kathy is Kathy Kennedy, believe it or not. George stuck her in as president without discussing it with Disney, Kathleen Kennedy. It's George Lucas's fault and Disney's fault for keeping her. See, George did weird stuff there at the end, but not as bad as Disney. God bless him. All right, Iger then details how he tried to convince him to sign a non-disparagement clause. Among the last things we negotiated before the deal closed, a non-disparagement clause. I asked George to agree that he wouldn't publicly criticize any of the Star Wars films we made. When I brought it up with him, he said, I'm going to be a big shareholder of the Walt Disney Company. Why would I disparage you or anything you do? You have to trust me. He said he took him at his word. He should not have taken him at his word. So Disney, George Lucas, of course, famously referred to Disney as white slavers in an interview with Variety in 2015. I sold them to the white slavers, and that takes these things, et cetera, et cetera. So, yes, George Lucas did say some bad things about Star Wars after he sold it, but that's what you get when you sign a deal and you don't have a non-disparagement clause in it, and that's what you get on Disney's side when you take a property and you just destroy it. Who knows what it would have been if Lucas continued with them? It would have had to been better than what they made it. You got to take it where it is. Take the baby Yodas where you can find them. Keep positive and enjoy life. That's what I'm all about. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. There will be more videos. Go ahead and tell me what you think. Had you heard about this non-disparagement agreement? Did you know what a non-disparagement agreement was? Do you think Comicsgate Live needs a non-disparagement agreement for people to go on it? I would sign it happily for my next appearance, so Ethan Van Sciver knows. Because I appreciate it. Why would you not appreciate being on a show like that? In any event, put your comments below. Make sure you're subscribed. Click the bell for notifications. I will see you again soon. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.